Hey guys, welcome back to News Jump. It's Saturday. Let's take a dump on the news.
Yeah. So, hey nerds. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's what your nerd hero Simon Pegg just wrecked your life by telling you in an interview that he just gave to the Radio Times, and now you're angry.
Well, okay, not exactly, but he did say things that were way more critical of the current comic book and sci-fi trends in movies than you'd expect from a guy who's currently starring in the Star Trek movies and built his career off of playing a gamer and comic book artist in Spaced.
Yeah, so the blowback has been loud and passionate, but let's look at what he actually said to start this whole powder keg off.
Yeah.
Before Star Wars, the films that were box office hits were The Godfather, Taxi Driver, Bonnie and Clyde, and The French Connection. Gritty, amoral art movies. Then suddenly the onus switched over to spectacle and everything changed.
Now, I don't know if that is a good thing. Obviously, I'm very much a self-confessed fan of science fiction and genre cinema. But part of me looks at society as it is now and just thinks we've been infantilized by our own taste. Now we're essentially all consuming very childish things. Comic books, superheroes. Adults are watching this stuff and taking it seriously.
It is a kind of dumbing down in a way because it's taking our focus away from real world issues. Films used to be about challenging emotional journeys or moral questions that might make you walk away and reevaluate how you felt about whatever. Now we're walking out of the cinema really not thinking about anything other than the fact that the Hulk just had a fight with a robot.
Nerds on the internet were not going to take this lying down, oh no. And IO9 published a strongly worded rebuttal where they took everything he said to task, basically saying that there's always been big, spectacular blockbusters since pretty much the beginning of film. And those kinds of movies are never necessarily devoid of social commentary and thought-provoking plot.
Yeah, Pegg then responded with a blog piece on his website where he clarified his opinions a lot better. Basically saying that while he still loves nerdy stuff, he's more into stuff like Mad Max and Ex Machina and Game of Thrones that managed to rise above the conventions of the genre and make people actually think.
Yeah, he talks a bunch about how his generation of nerds is the first one to break into the mainstream, and that the downside of that is that in a lot of ways they never had to grow up because all the big studios know they can make tons of money off them by making big superhero movies.
The whole exchange is definitely worth reading, especially the last part, the blog piece. Fandom communities are generally not too receptive to criticism.
Oh no.
And the fact that this is coming from one of their own, from a guy who no one can really deny is a sincere fanboy, gives a lot more weight than if some writer from the New York Times tried to make these points.
Yeah, he's like a nerd Trojan horse.
Yeah.
He like infiltrated their castle and then just...
I think he has a point.
Yeah, he has a lot of good points.
Like, yeah, because just from like a big studio perspective, like the more big superhero movies they make, the less movies that aren't that they make.
Less space.
They can only make so many movies
and they realize
a year.
that they're making a ton of movie off of these because people are growing up and still remaining fans of this stuff because the movies are coming out.
So I mean, yeah, it's okay to like these movies, but it also want something
The point
else.
is, go see other movies aside from superhero
like
movies.
Mad Max and Ex Machina.
Broaden your mind and see great movies. I like the one that I just watched that I loved a lot, A Most Violent Year. Not a lot of people are gonna see that as much as like Avengers or whatever, but it's fucking incredible. So go see good movies too.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I still love you, Simon Pegg.
yeah, we all still love you, and we still love the nerds too, Poindexters. But anyways, let's go right back to talking about mindless escapist comic book movie adaptations.
Yeah, according to Cinema Blend, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 is gonna feature Krang.
Yes!
The most ridiculous character from the already very ridiculous TMNT cartoon series that we grew up on.
I fucking love this news. This is my favorite thing. Krang is literally a brain with a face living inside the stomach of a body that he controls. How will this translate to live action is anyone's guess, but between this and the fact that Bebop and Rocksteady are gonna be in this movie, it's pretty clear that this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie series isn't about to let realism get in the way of a good time, and I love them for it.
I never thought I would see the day where the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy was the gritty and realistic trilogy.
Yeah, compared to the new and ridiculous one, yeah. Casey Jones is in the new one too.
Oh yeah, Stephen Amell.
Yeah, so
good old Arrow.
I am super pumped for this movie. A lot of people, for some reason, didn't like the first one. I thought it was great.
Well, the first one could have been more ridiculous, and it looks like that's what they're going for with this.
next,
Like,
yeah.
it needs to, it's turtles fighting with fucking ninja moves. It has to go over the top.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is good news. But anyway, speaking of not letting realism get in the way of fun, that Wet Hot American Summer series coming to Netflix has just released a bunch of stills, And I guess I hadn't been paying as close attention to this story as I thought, because it's apparently a prequel to the movie, despite being filmed 15 years later.
Which is just a hilarious premise. I originally thought that it was going to be based off of the movie, like the part of the movie where they're like, let's all get together at this exact time in the future.
I think everyone sort of thought that.
And no, so they're going to be older, like 10, what was it? Almost like 14, 15
it's been 15 years.
So they're going to be 15 years older in actual real life, but playing a prequel. That is the funniest thought to see ever.
Yeah, so just like the original movie, the series Wet Hot American Summer, First Day of Camp, takes place in 1981 at the beginning of the same summer, and although most of those actors are pushing 50, they're gonna be playing characters half their age, dressed like in full 80s regalia.
And let me just say, if you haven't seen Wet Hot American Summer yet for whatever reason, just run to, I guess run to your computer. I don't really know where you buy it.
Comedy Central like every 5 minutes.
Purchase, rent, whatever this movie, and watch it. It is comedy. It is a comedy masterpiece.
It has all of your favorite funny people before they were funny. Huge. Not before they were funny. They were funny always. Anyway, it's not like the original was all that tied to reality, so this is fine. Watching all these comedy veterans playing hormone-infused 20-something camp counselors in 1981 is freaking absurd, but it'll only add another layer to the comedy.
Yeah, so that drops on Netflix on July 17th, but Netflix has also just announced another project that they've got coming up just in time for Christmas. It's A Very Murray Christmas, a Christmas special starring Bill Murray and directed by Sofia Coppola.
Yeah, so it's an homage to the classic variety show style Christmas specials from the 60s.
He was already in Scrooged.
And that's a fucking great movie. It's about Murray as himself worrying that no one will show up to his special due to a really bad storm. But of course, through luck and perseverance, the guests arrive to sing and dance in holiday cheer. Probably get drunk.
It'll feature George Clooney, Paul Schaefer, Amy Poehler, Julie White, Dmitry Dimitrov, Michael Cera, Chris Rock, David Johansen, Maya Rudolph, Jason Schwartzman, Jenny Lewis, Phoenix, Frederick Mullen, Rashida Jones, Miley Cyrus, and more.
Star-studded.
Is it weird that I'm more excited to see Miley Cyrus perform than Phoenix?
I want to see her twerk on Bill Murray.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I don't know how he's going to top Scrooged. One of the best Christmas movies ever. Seriously, go watch that. But if anyone can, it's Bill Murray. This concept sounds
If anyone
promising.
can top himself, it's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
As always, or almost always, we've got a few videos from around the internet tubes for you this week, starting off with the official Game of Thrones musical by Coldplay's Chris Martin.
No, this isn't real. It's part of Red Nose Day, a charity event to raise money.
Better than Red Wedding Day.
Yeah. It's a charity event to raise money for children living in poverty. But there are plenty of actual ridiculous music numbers about Game of Thrones, sung by actual Game of Thrones cast members in this.
Yeah. There's Jon Snow singing Wildling, his version of Wild Thing. There's Jaime Lannister on solo piano doing a passionate song about incest.
Yeah. Tyrion Lannister rocking out to a song about how he's managed to not die for so long despite so many other characters dying. And even my favorite, Rastafarian Targaryen, sung by Daenerys Targaryen, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah. It's always fun seeing the actors in this show having fun instead of being subjected to constant brutal tragedy, and Chris Martin is surprisingly good at playing a ridiculous, delusional version of himself.
He was great on
If anyone can top
Extras.
Chris Martin, it's Chris Martin.
You ever see Extras?
Yeah.
Where he played himself? Mm-hmm. He's a funny guy. I don't like Coldplay at all, but he's a funny
Coldplay
guy.
is great live. Yeah.
Sure.
So if you guys see them live, you'll never realize how many Coldplay songs you know until you see them play
trust
live.
me, I know a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, another great video from this week that was also made to raise charity money is Arnold Schwarzenegger's guide to blowing shit up, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger blowing things up.
He blows up a car, he blows up a closet, he blows up spaghetti, he blows up a whole bunch of shit, and even does the tried and true action star move of calmly walking away from an explosion in slow motion. So
I believe he patented that move.
Yeah.
So the whole spectacle is his way of asking for donations for his after-school All-Stars charity, and one lucky donor is going to get flown out to Los Angeles to blow more stuff up with Arnold, which that sounds like the coolest prize ever.
That's you can't really top that.
Kind of my goal in life.
But speaking of actors who know exactly what people love them for, Christopher Lloyd reprised his role as Doc Brown in a new ad for LEGO Dimensions, which is basically LEGO's attempt at an amiibo sort of video game / toy crossover. But LEGO does good games. Good for them.
We're probably never going to get another Back to the Future movie due to Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's disease.
I don't want them to recast any of this. So.
Yeah, that's definitely for the best. So at least Christopher Lloyd has been pretty cool about paying homage to his greatest role, and this sure as shit is better than that stupid hoverboard thing.
Yeah, we still hate that.
I will never forgive you, Funny or Die.
Yeah.
That wasn't funny, and it didn't die.
Yeah. It's still alive. It's still haunting us. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Check out our other content over here, and we have a new podcast coming out tomorrow, so check that out and have a great weekend.
Adios.